our final session for today. I invite Niklas Wahl from DKFZ with Jota to demonstrate the installation of MatRad as a preparation for tomorrow's afternoon treatment planning session. And tomorrow's session in the afternoon, session 7, after the lunch break, will be, it's a special session, it's a different kind of session, it will be very much hands-on. It is led by DKFZ, by Joao Seco and Niklas Wahl, and one of their students. So I would now like to invite Niklas to take over and to give us a few practical hints on how to install MatRad in preparation for tomorrow's session. After this demonstration, we remind you that we have the career fair. We've got people from MatRad and from KNAU who will be very willing to have a chat with you on possible career opportunities. In past schools, we had very good feedback. This is an opportunity for you to meet the people, to meet the specialists, and to understand what opportunities lie ahead in both these European research infrastructures of heavy ion therapy. Niklas Wahl, thank you for being with us. I give you the floor.
Yes, welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for inviting me to the school again. And also again, the opportunity to do a little bit of, I have to admit, rudimentary treatment planning tomorrow. And we will use an open source software that we develop at DKFZ for that. It does, of course, not have all the features that a clinical particle therapy treatment planning system has, but this tool will allow us to explore some of the specifics that you have to deal with during particle therapy. I think you already have learned quite a lot over the last 2 days so far. So, for example, if you come from the photon world where you do VMAT and maybe select 1 or 2 arcs, you know, again, in the problem of beam angle selection with particles, then you as well heard probably already, I have not checked it exactly, something about range uncertainties, problem of variations with particles, the biological modeling, and so on. So a lot of stuff that is different, and parts of this we can tomorrow explore with our open source tool MatRad. So since I do not want to cut short the career fair later on, this is really just a short session to point you at the tool, where you can download it, how you can install it, the limitations with installation. So maybe not all of you can run it, but in this case, it's also very much fine to just follow along tomorrow. I think if problems arise, of course, there's so many participants here that we might also not be able to help everyone. But since the organizers are running this very nice Google Sheet where you can write questions, I think the best would be that if you have problems with installing later on, you just write a question in there. Also tomorrow, if you run into issues, you just use the Google Sheet to write this, and then I or maybe one of my students who will join me tomorrow can help you resolve some of these issues. Okay, so now let me start sharing my screen, and I can give you the first pointer. So if you open the website in Indico, so where you see the schedule, you will see that, and I hope everybody can access it. Now I basically need to find it again. Here, you see that I earlier today uploaded this PDF. So this is a PDF with, it is basically one slide that should explain you how to find the installers for MatRad and how to use it. So I will open this as well quickly in my PowerPoint. So just to show this to you. So very quickly, MatRad is open source, so everybody can download it. That's a reason why we use it here, because usually you could not get just like a license to play around with particle therapy. You can pay one of the vendors, I don't know, maybe 20,000 euros, but I guess that is not very feasible. So that's why we use this open source tool. And with this, we call it a treatment, like a toolkit for 3-dimensional intensity modulated treatment planning for photons, protons, and carbon ions. And it's written in MATLAB. And I have to admit, back then when we started this was a good decision. Now when we're running so many educational stuff as well with it, it's not always the best idea because installation is quite clunky. And there's basically 2 ways to now run MatRad. Some of you, I guess this will be the minority, they might have a MATLAB installation on their computer. Maybe you are students, and maybe you worked with MATLAB in one of your projects. Even if you are already professionals, you might have still have something. If you have MATLAB installed, that really only applies if you have it installed, you can work with the application source code directly. MATLAB is a scripting language and you can just run it from the MATLAB application. If you do not have MATLAB, then you need to install our compiled version of MatRad. Yeah? And this link, which you can find in the PDF, that points you directly at the release which we are going to use. Yeah, so we use exactly this release. I will come to back to that later and show you exactly how this website should look like. But if you have the PDF from the Indico, you can already should be able to find this link and can click it. But do not download anything just yet. Wait for the further instructions. And then there's the 2 ways for the probably for the minority with you. You basically can just download the code, not the installers, but the code, and then kind of run these commands. Especially this command will give you the user interface later. If you run it like this, if you have MATLAB, you have the advantage. You can also look a little bit at what's going on behind the scenes, but that's not important for tomorrow. If you don't have MATLAB and you need to just install, you basically can download the installer. And there's one problem with it, which is quite annoying, and we haven't found a way around it. On your computer, you need to be administrator. So if some of you join from the clinic, that might be an issue. The second thing is, which everybody, I guess, should have, because you are on Zoom with me, is an internet connection. You need to download the installer for your system. So there is a Mac, Linux, and Windows installer. I can now show it only on Windows, unfortunately. I hope that in future I can find a student of us who is working on Mac. Unfortunately, physics students are not working on Macs too much, I have the impression. But in principle, you download the installer for your system, run the installer, and this will also download and install a MATLAB runtime. So do not worry when it basically says I need to download some stuff. It needs to do that to run in the background. That's just what's needed for running any MATLAB program as a standalone application. So that's the 2 ways to do it. That's what we need to run the software. I will shortly stop sharing and prepare my browser so I can show you what awaits you on this link. You can also, by the way, go just with this, which is a little bit easier, via matrad.org. I can show you now how this works. So with this link, you also can find basically our standalone software, but let me quickly just stop sharing. Let me end my presentation, prepare the browser, and share again. Yeah, so that's basically the website that you will find if you type matrad.org. Yeah? And if you click on the link in the PDF, basically you will end up here. You will also end up here if you click just download standalone here. Yeah, you will end up on the same website. That's the website where you end up from the link. You get some information here. There's also a wiki for setting up MatRad. You can read up on this from this link if you're unsure on what to do. Yeah, here you see the installers for your system. So Exe is Windows. It also says in the name. DMG is a Mac installer, and install is a Linux installer. Yeah. So these basically you download and run, and don't forget you need administrator rights. There is a specific situation for Mac installations. I just remember that. Where is it? Yes, basically that you can find this explanation by clicking on this link here on this website, on the setting up in the wiki, and it basically tells you about right here on the Mac. Basically, it has some Mac instructions. There is kind of a warning that we are not a verified developer, and here is basically the option what you need to do to install anyway. Yeah, we are unfortunately not a verified developer. I do not want to pay Apple to become a verified developer or something like that. So that's kind of the situation. So you should be able to install it in any system. If it doesn't work, use the Google Sheet. I will check it later this evening and tomorrow morning and try to resolve some issues. But in principle, download this. If you have MATLAB installed, only if you have MATLAB installed, you can also just download the source code. Yeah. So that's basically what you need to do. And I will now go quickly, not entirely through both ways. I already downloaded my installer. So I will show you basically how the installation goes. It's actually quite straightforward how you install any software. So I have the installer here on the desktop. You see that it needs, unfortunately, the admin rights. I can launch it. Will ask me for stuff. You will see some form of short splash screen, which for me was very quickly. Probably you didn't see it. Then it takes really a while to load the installer, and it opens on the wrong screen for me. But it looks like this. This is the installer. This should open, and you just click through it, give it an installation path. Then it asks you to download the runtime. That's something that I already did. This takes a while. The runtime has, I think, 2 gigabytes or something like that. It's unfortunately needed. And after that, you really just go through all the steps. It takes a few minutes and should install MatRad. Yeah, then you have, if you click that you want the desktop shortcut, you basically get like a nice shortcut like this. Otherwise, it should just be under your applications, launchable. Yeah, will be installed where you asked it to install. Okay. And you can test that it works afterwards by running MatRad, which I will not do now. I will show you how it should look like from the source code, because there might be some of you users who have MATLAB installed and who can work with the source code directly. Yeah, so basically, if you have MATLAB installed, you just download the code, extract it into a folder. So for example, here I extracted it into MATLAB 2.10.1. And then from here, you can really just start, like it is written on the slide, start the MatRad user interface. So it will give you a warning, but that's okay. And then you should end up with something like this. If this opens, basically you have managed. And as I said, check out here. I don't see at the moment the video panel. I need to do a little bit of like this. Check out this PDF here. Try to follow it. use the Google Doc that I hopefully there will a link for my question sheet be sent around, and I will look at it and try to follow it up as soon as possible. And now we have 2 minutes until the career fair. I see there is 2 questions in the chat.
Actually, Niklas, is not the questions for you, but maybe you can say 2 words about where to find the data, because this is
the data is included now. The data
Okay.
is included now. I will show it tomorrow where to find it.
Okay.
Exactly, like basically it's downloaded with MatRad and you are able to access it.
Thank you very much, Niklas.
So this was very fast, but now I think we managed the career fair on time, and everybody who has an issue, right, really just write in the Google Docs, and I can follow it up and try to make some, like, help out a few of you. I hope it works for as many people as possible. It in the past usually worked, but let's see how it works out. Maybe the systems evolve and at some point it doesn't work anymore and I need to provide a new version. So see you tomorrow from my side.
Niklas, I'm sorry.
There is one question.
Yes.
Why does it mention? Why is it mentioned that MatRad shouldn't be used clinically, since it's about simulation? Thanks.
Yeah, this question is quite good, and so the point is, MatRad is a treatment planning system in a sense, open source, right? But it's not a medical product. Yeah. So, and someone might have the idea that it's a good way to spare some money in-house by installing MatRad as their treatment planning system. And that's something I want to avoid as much as possible. Yeah, I don't want that anybody gets the idea of installing MatRad and use it as a clinical treatment planning system, because it is not a medical product.
All right, Niklas, thank you so much for this short demo. We will meet you again tomorrow afternoon, and we look forward to that. So that brings a wrap to this afternoon session, and we look forward to meeting you all at the career fair focusing on MedAustron and KNAU that is happening in Spatial Chat right now. For those of you who haven't yet signed up, you are still free to do so. We will give you a license and you'll be able to enter into the Spatial Chat space. We look forward to seeing you there right now. See you tomorrow for the rest of you. Thank you.